So I'm sure that over the last day or so, you have seen um, the headlines. You have seen Will and Jada supposedly come out and deny that Will gave August Alsina permission to boing his wife. But I'm going to need Jada Pinkett-Smith to sit down at the red table and talk to herself and become completely transparent about what has been happening, because she seems to like to do that when it comes to other people's business and pretend to be so open. Yet, just like Wendy Williams, when it comes to their own business, they hush up and then they deny everything. And then, but like Wendy Williams, remember that shit was very, very true. So anyway, Jada, as well as Will, is denying that she ever had an affair with August Alsina, and Will is denying that he ever gave Jada permission to do that. I mean, gave August Alsina permission to be with his wife. But I want to play a little clip from the Red Table Talk. And I don't know if people will say that this is aging badly, or this is just one of those breadcrumbs or those clues that the Smiths have been dropping for the longest time regarding their marriage. Go ahead and listen to this, guys.
If you marry me, know this. We're going to be together. We're going to be under the same roof. You might be on one end of that joker with somebody else. And I might be on one of this joker with somebody else.
Yeah.
And I always said, that's ridiculous. But we're going to be in this joker together.
Yeah. So
that's what we are going.
So that clip was circulating on social media yesterday, as well as another clip in which Will was basically saying, listen, I'm tired. I'm retired. I want Jada to be happy. I want her to do whatever she needs to do in this marriage to bring her happiness. And I think that the Smiths have been dropping those little breadcrumbs for years. Let's not pretend, or we're not going to pretend like they didn't hear the rumblings about their marriage, the fact that people were saying that they were out here swinging. They have heard this. Now, this is pre-August Alsina. We have been hearing that the Smiths have been out there with an open marriage, some swinging lifestyle for years. And I think the Red Table Talk gave them an opportunity, not just to, of course, talk to other people, but to drop hints about how they view their marriage and how their marriage works. And they've been doing this for a minute. So when I hear that audio, when I listen to it over again, I'm like, well, they've been telling people for the longest time how they get down. Now, if you weren't listening, you weren't listening. But there have been so many rumblings about both Will and Jada being with other people. And I know it may not be ideal for most people. It may not be ideal for the majority. But if it works for them, it works for them. And here is where things took a left turn, I believe, in this whole, because I believe August Alsina. Let me just say that. I believe every word that that young man said. The problem, and I think what happened is that while it probably seemed ideal at the beginning for him, and he thought he could handle a setup like this, because maybe other people did with the Smiths, he found out quickly that he could not handle it, because at the end of the day, no matter where Will goes and who he goes off with, and no matter who Jada goes off with, which was August Alsina, they're not going nowhere. They are in this for life. That's why, do you remember it was, I don't know if it was a year ago or something along the lines, that they started calling themselves life partners? Like all of a sudden it transitioned from we're married to we're life partners. Again, dropping hints about how their marriage was working for them. Life part, like I when I heard that, I thought to myself, what's the point? Why are you guys coming out and speaking about each other like that, calling each other life partners. But like I said, I did a video a year ago talking about this very thing with August Alsina when he dropped that song Nunya. And this was around the time that people had speculated that he and Jada were no longer together. They were no longer an item. They were no longer together. And he dropped like the visuals for it. And then people got a hold of the lyrics, which in my opinion were very, very telling. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and read some of these lyrics to you guys. It says, why you texting me, asking me who's next to me? Why do you care about who's having sex with me? Now you all on my line. Why you pressing me? Because I got her legs open like sesame. What I got cooking with her ain't your recipe. Oh, how she on her knees when she blessing me. With you, girl, I gave you the best of me, but you said to me you wasn't ready to be what I needed. So I gave you time to make me a priority. Put my feelings out there. You ignored it. Being real is what you can't afford, and I paid a lot for it. The time I invested, you can't give it back. You can't get mad at the way I react. You got me feeling like it was an act. You're just an actress putting on a show because you don't want the world to know that you lost a man who loved you all along. Baby, couldn't we just let this go? Let it go. Let it go. Now, that was from a song that he dropped, I believe it was around May of 2019. Okay, and then, like I said, he dropped a visual. And in the visual, it had the text, like it was a text message, like a text conversation, and it had Corinne. And that is Jada's middle name, okay? And so, like I said, the signs have been there for as long as we can remember. And I think, for the most part, August Alsina did a pretty damn good job as avoiding this conversation, which is why I hated the way this was presented. I hated that, of course, this was the most salacious part of his hour-long interview with Angela Yee, and the fact that they had like a docu-series, which honestly, I think that if people watched it, they would have a better understanding of him as a whole. But because it's the most salacious part, and I'm not going to sit here in front that it wasn't juicy, and that you if you wanted to take something out of that, out of that and be like, ooh, okay. If you wanted to take a part out of that entire interview, that would be the most juiciest part. This man saying basically that Will Smith gave him his blessing to boink his wife. Yes, of course that was going to make headlines. Of course. And also, August Alsina he's promoting his album. So when you look at all of it, naturally people are going to say, well, he's just being opportunistic. He's just using it. I can't necessarily argue with that. Look at Queen Latifah. I had to show this again. Look at her face. She looked like, yeah, we know. Y'all fucking. But yeah. So I can look at that and say, yeah, he was being a bit opportunistic. But at the same time, looking at the entirety of his docuseries, looking at the entirety of the interview, this was a broken man, a broken young man when Jada got him, who had been dealing with a drug addiction, who had been dealing with sexual abuse. I had to show you that so that y'all, I'm sorry, man, but guys, I had to show it to you because, I guess I can understand why Jada stayed and she was hooking up with him. Anyway, off on a tangent here. This is something that Tisha Campbell wrote yesterday. She said, don't have to say a word. God reveals all. Can't put a spin on that. And she said, they will lie till the end. The real key is people will stop believing them. I had to put that in there because...
sorry. Don't be pulling me into no mess. I don't have the time. I'm working with Tony Rivera on more global issues. I don't do subtweets. I don't do messy. It's not your...
Okay, girl. I had to put that in there just kind of randomly, because I saw her after everything blew up yesterday. She posted that and then put Will in all caps, and then wanted to backtrack and act like, girl, listen, I ain't messy like that. I don't subtweet. I don't do all that. I'm not in all of that. I don't know what y'all talking about. And I'm just thinking to myself, stop lying, because you know that people were out here basically saying that your husband, your ex-husband, and Will were involved in some kind of relationship. Also, I want to show you guys this. This is important because while Jada is getting a lot of heat for her supposed relationship with August, Will been out here pretty much out in the open, if you probably wasn't paying attention, with other women. A woman named Heidi De La Rosa, he was supposedly involved with. And every time Heidi was somewhere in the world, he was there too. These are pictures of them on vacation. They were in Africa. When she posted a picture in Africa, he posted a picture in Africa. I believe she was the one taking the pictures of him, and he was the one taking pictures of her. So again, this is this woman. You can find her on Instagram. Like I said, they traveled together all the time, and people had speculated that this was Will Smith's side piece for a really long time. Now, I don't think that they are still together like that. Some people are saying that he is with another woman, but I wanted to just show you this because it's just funny how both Jada and Will have been out in the open with their so-called lovers, and you could have easily missed it, because when you look at Will and you look at Jada, you look at this, some people want to call them couple goals, right? This perfect couple where they have an understanding of each other. But look at this one. Here's another one with Heidi. She's in Cuba. All right. She's in Havana, Cuba, and she's taking pictures, right? Now, at the same time, Will Smith was also in Cuba. Okay. He was also in Cuba. So it's just funny to me that all of this stuff has honestly taken place in plain sight, and a lot of people just didn't notice. They just didn't notice. Now, let's get back to them denying what August said. I would expect that they would deny what he said. I wouldn't expect Will nor Jada to come out and say, yeah, it's all true. It's absolutely true. Yes, she had a relationship. Because there's a couple of things here. Number one, August Alsina is the same age as Will Smith's oldest. He's the same age as Trey. Not to say that there's anything wrong with a relationship where you have an older woman and a younger man. They're called cougars, right? But at the end of the day, they're a brand. Now look at August Alsina. He was in love with this woman. Can't nobody tell me different. I don't think he imagined this relationship in his head, as some people are saying. I believe that he truly was in love with Jada. And I don't necessarily think it started off that way. My guess is that it started off with like a Florence Nightingale type of situation where Jada was sincerely attempting to help him heal. You know, again, he had some drug addictions, which if you watch the Red Table Talk with him, he was on there on one episode before. And I believe she took part in his healing, right? She helped him get back to a place of sobriety. And you know how Jada is. I can see her right now just sitting there talking to him, having him open up. She's opening up to him. They developed something more. It turned into something more. So you also have a situation here where, again, you have a young man who was probably like maybe 21, 22 at the time, somewhere in there. Still young, okay? probably never experiencing the kind of relationship and love, like, wow, this woman cares for me. He never experienced that. And so I think it turned into something more. Next thing you know, you see them out all the time. And they were calling him their son, which is weird as hell. But I think, again, that was just a part of the ruse so that people wouldn't catch on to what was going on. And it got deep. It got deep for him. He had never experienced a love like that with Jada. I believe he absolutely slept with her. I believe they was absolutely sleeping together. Can't nobody convince me that they were not. But what happened was that he may have thought that this was something that could be so-called real, right? Like they could just be out and just like, hey, we're in love. And Jada, I believe, early on probably made it clear to him, and I believe this. I believe that she made it clear to him that her and Will, although not romantically linked anymore, her and Will, I'm talking about, we're still going to be together. Like this, like she said, like this is you could be over there, I could be over here, but we are married. We together. We're not breaking up. This is our family. This is us. And I think that he couldn't handle that. That was something, because, people go into this, not just Hollywood and not these, the Smiths and August Alsina, but how many times have you heard of young women, young men thinking that they are going to be the one that will make that man leave his wife or make that wife leave her husband? It happens all the time. You think you're going to be the one. You're that special to that person that you're going to be the one to make them go against what they had said originally. And it didn't happen. And I think that it broke him because this is a broken man, right? I think she knew that. She knew all of his vulnerabilities, that if you watch the interviews, if you watch his docuseries, this man has come from pain, and that's not. I'm not over exaggerating this. This man comes from a brokenness, a broken home where he basically didn't have a mother. He was sexually abused. He's also sick. I believe he has lupus or something like that, right? He comes from death. He comes from a lot of death in his family. He's also dealing with the tragic passing of his sister, as well as the kid's father. I think he calls him his brother. And he is raising his sister's daughters. They were orphaned. And so he was thrown into this situation of becoming a dad, okay, to kids. I'm sure as a young man, he wasn't expecting anything like that. So all of that created what he is right now. And Jada knew all of that. Jada knew every little bit of what was happening in his life, especially with his mommy issues. And so for this older woman to come through and to open herself, and I truly believe it was a sincere, genuine, I want to help you. And then it turned into something more between them. And then I believe she was just kind of like, you remember I told you that me and Will are together. We're forever. This is forever. And as a young man, I don't think he could handle that. A lot of folks couldn't. A lot of folks can't. And it broke him. It broke him. And so him sitting down with Angela Yee and him sitting in his docuseries, I believe he felt like, listen, I know that a lot of people aren't going to like what I'm going to say. A lot of people aren't going to appreciate that I'm going to be as transparent, but it's killing me to not be. It's killing me to hold on to these things, and I need to heal myself. And the only way I'm going to heal myself is to get this off of me. Again, the timing, I can understand why people would feel a certain way because, again, this man is promoting an album. So I can understand why people would feel a certain way as like he's being opportunistic at this moment. I'm not going to argue that. But if something is hurting you, Why should you hold it in? I heard the saying something along the lines of, if you put it out there, it could fuck you up. But if you hold on to it, or no, I said if you put it out there, it could fuck up everything, right? It could fuck up everything if you put these so-called secrets and reveal things out there. It's going to fuck up everything, right? But if you hold it in, it could actually fuck you up. So you have to make a decision about how you want to move with this. And he made the decision, listen, I'm just going to have to reveal my truths, every bit of it, every bit of my life. I'm going to reveal it because people have been speculating and I've said nothing. I've said nothing for years and years and years and years. And she was a part of me. She was a part of me. And I care about these people. And I know that this isn't going to go over well with people. But I think at this point, he feel like he ain't got shit else to lose, right? This man is talking as if he ain't got long on this earth. And he's also, if you watch the whole thing, you know, all of it, you think to yourself, he probably is surprised that he's still on this earth right now. He may actually credit Jada for saving him because he sounds like he didn't even think he would live because he comes from so much tragedy and so much death. He probably felt like he didn't even expect to live as long as he did. So I think he did develop something strong for her. And I think she reciprocated it, but there were limitations and she always knew that. She always knew that and he just couldn't. A lot of people say, well, he's grown. He should have known he grown. So he ain't no victim. I'm not calling him a victim, but you know, we do a lot of talk about what's grown and what's not grown. And you have to remember at the time she met him, he was around 21, 22. And we like to say that 21, 22 is grown, right? Because the United States told us that you're 18, grown is 18, because they gave us an arbitrary number and said 18 is grown, then he must be grown. But scientifically, they said that you haven't truly stopped growing until you're about 25, physically, and I believe mentally and emotionally. So was he really grown? Was he really able to enter into some kind of like understanding that Will and Jada had and accept it? I just think that's human nature. You think you can handle something and then you find out that you can't. And so it kind of comes off like he's a scorned lover. But I don't appreciate the fact that they out here trying to make him look like a liar, because I don't think he's lying. I think he's just at the point where he don't feel like he have anything to lose. And, you know, it's like, you know, I remember him saying something along the lines of, you know, y'all can throw sticks and stones at me. He didn't say it like that, but y'all know what I'm saying. But at the end of the day, I'm going to die an honest man. And I believe him. I believe that he and Jada were together. I believe it. Just like I believe that Will got his own girlfriend somewhere and they all have an understanding. But he blew the spot up because he just probably felt like it was going to be more than what it was. And he felt such a connection with this woman that he thought that he could change whatever this was and change her mind in the way she was thinking about, like, me and Will gonna be together. And it just didn't work that way. And I don't think it'll ever be that way. I think that I don't judge how Will and Jada choose to run their marriage. That's their life. And if it works for them, God bless. I don't have a problem with how people run their households and what they want to do in their households when it comes to their marriage. That works for them. Because at the end of the day, they said they're going to be together. You be over there, I'll be over here, but we still together. And that just don't work when you have somebody as open and vulnerable as August Alsina. It just don't work. But based on that picture of him and his draws, I can see why she kind of like succumbed to that. I mean, this dude is the same dude that I think he got sued for breaking a woman's cervix. Did he just break her vagina because he was just too big? So I can see why she was like, I can see why she went there. You know what I'm saying? But I don't appreciate them basically calling him a liar. I don't think that's cool. I don't think that's cool. And I don't think he's lying. But, the Smiths are a brand. And I just think as open as they are and non-conforming as they are, I just don't think admitting to being with other people would work. I just don't think. But anyway, what do you guys think about this? Let me know. See you guys on the next video. Take care, y'all.